Hello there, Commonwealth from here. We've done the top 10 Switch games overall and of 2022, so now let's look into the future, that is 2023, but quality goes always over quantity, so please leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell as we're going for over 2023 likes, and please enjoy our top 10 Nintendo Switch games coming 2023. Number 10, Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. 2022 was Kirby's year, no doubt about that. The pink puffball was literally everywhere 30 years after being first drawn by Masahiro Sakurai. New games, concerts, a massive line of anniversary merchandise, including one from a Crane game in Kobe, Japan, which is on my couch. Even so, much like what was the case of the 25th anniversary of Pokemon in 2021 to 2022, the anniversary of Kirby doesn't end with the turn to 2023, so we are getting Kirby's Return to Dreamland on February 24th. One of the good Kirby games finally updated to HD on the Nintendo Switch from its Wii original. A solid story and gameplay loop is all you need to know. This game is opening up our list for a good reason, as this is the side-scroller Kirby remaster we've pretty much been waiting for ever since being underwhelmed by Star Allies in 2018. And it goes in particular for this game's music, which we love. Number 9, Hogwarts Legacy. The most ambitious Harry Potter game to date, coming to the Nintendo Switch at the same time as other systems? Possibly, but if that is the case, that alone secures a spot on this list, since remember, this is not 2018, but 2023, 6 years after the Nintendo Switch release in 2017. No matter how, we are here for it, as long as it isn't a cloud release, as cloud gaming is pretty much over with the end of Stadia. Anyway, why be excited for a franchise which is long completed? Well, the gameplay promise. An open-world action RPG set in one of the best book and movie universes, though not even close to Lord of the Rings. But if this is ambitious, why number 9? Simple. We all know how much needs to be sacrificed to make third-party open-world games run around 30 frames per second on the Switch, especially with an art style and detail like this, which stands in stark contrast to number 8, SpongeBob, the Cosmic Shake. Who would have thought we would get a sequel to Battle at Bikini Bottom? But here it is, another revival of the 3D platformer, but one with a lot of promise due to the SpongeBob IP and passion put into the game. A fully dual analog camera controlled adventure and struggle against the quirkiest of challenges and enemies. SpongeBob, Patrick and their pals and girls really need to provide their best to make sure they come out on top, while also providing plenty of humor and memes to add to the never-ending collection of SpongeBob memes. One of them which I will provide you right now, but under a but. Namely, once again, how well this game will run, seeing that we have games like Super Mario Odyssey and Kirby and the Forgotten Land to compare to. And since we're on the topic of ambitious 3D projects that deserve your attention this year, a favorite of Mr. Krabs, number 7, another Krabs treasure, the highlight of the May indie world. The game that showed that Fight Crab wasn't the only giant enemy crab game where we can attack their weak point for massive damage. Not sure if this one is based on actual old Japanese history though, but what another Crab's treasure does provide in spades is 3D action. Far less gravity heavy than Elden Ring, but still soul-like. Sorry for the mistake, Mr. Crab, shell-like. This could be a potential money machine and a big indie hit alongside 1 or 2 other titles which we'll get back to later. I'll just say that this is a game that as soon as reviews have confirmed the strength of its shell, as there are a lot of them in this game, it's definitely a game that you need to pick up. Hopefully it will get a release month that doesn't collide with other big releases on this list. You know, just like number 6, Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon. The Umbra Witch had an amazing 2022 as Bayonetta 3 delivered. It may not be the best in the series, and it had a lot of effects and camera moves that made it literally impossible to review it due to sickness for us. But it was still another platinum hit on a Nintendo system. So you can imagine our surprise when beside winning the best action game of the year, Bayonetta showed up again, but this time with a top-down prequel. One that we'll be able to play and hopefully deliver. Now I was unsure whether to place this game higher or lower. Higher because of its imminent release on March 17th, but lower as we got burned by a similar game in the past. Travis strikes again. Ultimately, I decided that the 6th spot is fitting as this game has a really beautiful art style, true to the Bayonetta franchise gameplay, great enemy design, and a premise and origin story of Cereza, who became Bayonetta, that is far more interesting than some minigames in a video game console could ever be. Still, the doubt kept it away from the potential 90+ gang in our top 5, so let's begin with Octopath Traveler 2, February 24th. This follow-up just had to happen after the success of the original in 2018 and the brilliant triangle strategy in 2022. But less than a year after the latter, that surprised all of us. Not only that, confidence must be at an all-time high at Square Enix, as this game, unlike the two former, does not have a demo prior to release. Nope, we know this title shines, so we will release it 5 months after revealing it. This pixelated 2D with 3D backgrounds turn-based RPG will no doubt deliver, as the reveal trailer showed that this is an evolution of a formula that we cannot get enough of, and which is perfect for the Nintendo Switch. The big Square Enix release on the system alongside other systems, since just like Xbox, we're not getting Final Fantasy XVI, which is reserved for the PS5, at least for now. Number 4, Pikmin 4. After waiting for a decade, we finally got the reveal of the next true Pikmin installment, the one Shigeru Miyamoto teased in 2015 but didn't show until September 2022. Yes, we had Hey Pikmin on the 3DS and Pikmin Bloom, but this is something quite different. Visuals that crush Pikmin trees to a pulp, and the same goes for gameplay. Still, this entry will be short, as outside of Miyamoto's stage presence and non-gameplay teaser trailer, we know literally nothing about this title. Actually, we know one thing, its release year, 2023, and then we will see whether Roger Space will be right about this being a summer release, or I will be right about this being a September or later release. No matter what, Pikmin is back with the visuals it deserves. Now, before we move to our podium of great expectations and hopefully zero disappointments, let's go over one honorable mention, namely Hades 2, which was revealed at the Game Awards 2022 with a kick-ass trailer and a promised beta session in 2023. And that simply doesn't promise a full 2023 release on Nintendo Switch, but we couldn't keep this game out after we crowned the original Hades as the best Nintendo Switch game of 2020. A game that deserved a mention, but isn't the final indie entry on this list, which also isn't our number 3, where we instead find Fire Emblem Engage, a game which has and women hair-colored protagonists, or toothpaste as several memes have pointed out. I for one love the design of the main playable characters, and the fact that this game is coming out 2.5 years after Fire Emblem Three Houses and 7 months after Warriors Three Hopes. It may not have been a too long stay in Fodland, but luckily the trio we know and love are back as spirits if we get the paid DLC. Yes, sneaky there, Koei Tecmo and Intelligent Systems, as both are involved in the latest installment of Fire Emblem. It is hard to believe, but this follow-up is coming out before Tears of the Kingdom, a game that was revealed before the release of Three Houses. Breathe in, Conrad. We're almost at the end of the long wait for that title. For now, I would just say that Engage with its returning characters, especially Spirit Ring Marth, is exactly what we need to take down the big bad dragon in this turn-based, probably masterpiece, come January 20th. But now for another game which was revealed before Three Houses was out. Number 2, Hollow Knight Silksong. At last, the time has come, as this game has been in the oven longer than almost any other indie title we can think of. Luckily for us, the Microsoft Xbox/Bethesda Summer, but well, still in Spring 2022 conference, brought it back and also confirmed its Spring 2023 release, since all games shown in that presentation were promised to be out in the next 12 months. Anyway, Silksong is the follow-up to Hollow Knight, but this time we play as Hornet in an evolved experience packed with new enemies and bosses, typical for 2D Metroidvanias, a genre that we clearly love as Metroid Dread was our Nintendo Switch game of 2021. Even so, this game might surpass it as Silksong is filled with new quests and a proper quest system, which will add even more depth to an indie franchise that impressed greatly with its debut on other systems in 2017 and a Nintendo Switch following the E3 2018 Nintendo Direct. Our expectations are high, but not sky high, since that distinction is reserved for our one and only number 1, The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. What else? Seriously, what else? This game has consumed us, and after nearly 4 years of waiting since its reveal in the E3 2019 Nintendo Direct, the time has arrived for the 20th Zelda game, the continuation of the game that finally dethroned Ocarina of Time as our favorite Zelda game of all time. That one did it with gameplay, but with Tears of the Kingdom we expect a perfect balance of story and gameplay, the combination of the best Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild had to offer. No doubt we're on a good path there already, with Ganondorf back after over 15 years since Twilight Princess, Princess Zelda's fate unknown, and Link pulling a Devil May Cry 5 Nero with a very functional arm from a tribe of courage that is one giant mystery, or Nosai, an arm of a potential Zonai, or Hand of Time Reversal as we like to call it. See, we haven't even mentioned the massive new sky layer filled with floating islands to explore and conquer, dark underground caves and combinations galore in everything from enemies to weapons and even clothing. This sequel, reusing the engine of 2017's Game of the Year Breath of the Wild, did it pretty much to add more to what is already there and change what we thought we knew by heart at this point. The gap between number 2 and 1 on this list could not have been bigger, so be sure to check out our video on Tears of the Kingdom's new 3 layers, skies, surface, and potentially underground open world to understand why after this one. But first, if you haven't already, be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell to not miss any of our upcoming videos throughout 2023. Last but not least, a big thanks to all of you watching until the end and to all our patreon.com/Comeron patrons, with special shout out to our royal producer Charles. You rock, and please enjoy one or both of these 2 awesome videos.